Hi, welcome. We're going to discuss what mean, median, and mode are. And to do that, we're going to start with typing in a little bit of data into a spreadsheet, as that might help you out. Let's pretend we've got 9 weeks in a quarter and you have a quiz in a certain class once a week. So we'll call it quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, etc. Here's a neat little trick. I can highlight these two, grab, click and hold, and then drag, and this spreadsheet, watch what it's going to do. It's going to see the pattern. Quiz 1, quiz 2, and it says you probably want to go quiz 3, quiz 4. And I'm going to take that out to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for a 9-week quarter. Now, I'm going to tighten up these columns, the width of them, by highlighting all those columns, putting my cursor to where I get the two arrows, opposing arrows, double click, and it automatically goes ahead and brings those columns to the minimum width to fit what I had already put in there, just to get it in a smaller space. Now let's make up some quiz grades. Let's assume that all of these quizzes are out of 20 points. And week 1, oh, that was an easy one. You got a 20. Week 2, a little bit harder. You missed one, 19. Week 3, killer, got a 14. Week 4, another perfect. Quiz 5, let's say you were absent for 3 days and you came back and your teacher still made you took it and you got an 11 and you cried. Quiz number 6, you got an 18. Quiz 7, you got a 15. Quiz 8, you got a 17. And quiz 9, you got a, let's go with another perfect grade. You finished the quarter off awesome. Okay, so here we are. We've got 9 quiz grades. They were all worth 20 points each. And you want to figure out what mean, median, and mode are. Now, mean, median, and mode are all measures of central tendency. You're trying to figure out where the middle is. Mean, median, and mode. Okay, the mean. Mean is also known as the average, where you sum all values and divide by how many values. So we're going to do that with our spreadsheet using a formula. To make my spreadsheet do a formula, I hit equal. I could go through and click each cell and put a plus sign in between them, or I can use the word sum to say I'd like you to sum up all the values in a cell range. I can click, hold, and drag across those values, close my parenthesis, hit enter, and it'll find the sum. Okay, now the average is not just the sum, it's the sum divided by how many values, right? I'll break this down though. I just showed you how to find the sum. Next, I'm going to show you how to count an amount. How many values were there? Equal. You start typing a function name, it brings up all the options. So just under count, you can see count A, which says a count of the number of values in a data set. So I'm going to use count A, open parenthesis. What's the cell range which I want to count? And we all know it's 9, but just showing you a tool. And lastly, the mean is the sum. So I'm going to choose that value that represents the sum, divided by how many. Hit enter. The nice thing about doing it this way is, let's say your teacher went back and let you pick your worst quiz grade and retake it at the end of the quarter. And so that 11, you got a chance to retake it. And when you retook it, you got a 19 that time. And if I update that quiz grade, guess what? My mean updates as well. Okay, because these formulas are looking at these values, and as those values change, these calculations update. So we can show that our mean is 18. So again, mean is adding up all your values and dividing by how many there were, and it's just one way to try to describe where the middle was. It's not the only way to try to describe the middle. Another way is the median, and that is if you order your values from smallest to biggest, the middle value. Okay, so I'm going to take these values and let's see here. I actually have an idea that I don't know if it works here. I'm so used to using Excel. Let's see, paste special. Yes, okay. I did a copy. Under paste special, there is a transpose. I'd like this data to actually be in a column, not in a row. And if I use paste transpose, it turns it from a row to a column. They're already highlighted for me. I'd like to sort this data. Under data, I can sort range by column. You can even just click sort range. Data has nope. And right here, do you want to go from smallest to biggest to smallest? It really doesn't matter. My data did not have a header row. That would be like a title at the top that I don't want to get sorted. Hit sort, and there you go. My data is now from the smallest quiz grade 14 to my biggest 20. Okay, so median is looking for the middle number. There were 9 quizzes, so the 5th one should be the middle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my middle value. Thus, it's my median. Notice there are 4 scores below it, and there are 4 scores above it, because I have an odd number of values. If I had an even number of values, then I would have to do something else. But for right now, our median is 19. I'll just list that there. And let's bold that so we remember our mean. I'm hitting Control to highlight just 2 cells. Mean is the 18. And last one, mode. Mode is the value that occurs the most. Typo. I always remember this because my math teacher would say, don't you like pie a la mode, which means pie with ice cream. And of course I want ice cream on top of my dessert. And how much ice cream? I want the most ice cream I can get. So a la mode, I think most. So if I look at these values and simply look for which value occurred most frequently more than any other, this data set has one value that occurred more than any other, and that is 20. 20 appears 3 times. So the mode is 20. That's the value that occurred the most. 3 ways to try to describe the middle, or your central tendency of the data set. They all have pros and cons, those of which can be discussed later, but for right now, the mean, add them up, divide by how many, we got 18. The median, put them in order, smallest to biggest, which one's in the middle, 19, and mode, is there a value that occurred more often than any other? You can't have more than one mode. If you have 2 values that occurred that basically tied for how many times they occurred the most, you could have a bimodal set. And median, just one comment would be if you had an even number of values, let's say there were 10 and we had a low grade of a 10. At this point, the 19 wouldn't be my middle because I've got 5 values below it and only 4 above it. And if I pick the 18, well, now I have 4 below and 5 above. So the middle is actually going to be right in between 18 and 19. In that case, if the middle is right in between 2 values, we would average those 2 values. We would add those up and divide by 2. 18 plus 19 would be really just the average. It's pretty easy, 18.5. But in our case, we only had 9 values, so we don't have to do that. So there you go. If you didn't know what mean, median, and mode are, now you do.